Okay, so did I get you with my intro there? I hope so. So yes, this is the update for actually August, but also July, because I didn't actually do an update in July because I really didn't buy very much. So there's only literally a few things that I got from July, so I'm just going to incorporate them into this video. It was also my birthday in August, and I got a bit of a bonus, so this is actually a fairly big update for me. It might not be the biggest in regards to number of items, but I think the majority of items I actually got are quite, they're quite decent items, to be honest with you. A few kind of cheapy ones, but we'll kind of go through it. So before we get on to the actual films, yes, look at what I bought. So I bought this large bust of Valak, the nun, and just to give you a sense of scale, there is a Blu-ray to kind of, so it's kind of meant to be sort of full size. So there is a Blu-ray for you. So it's a full-size bust of Valak, the nun, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it, to be honest with you. But there you go. I thought I might prank some people. Yeah, but I really enjoyed the Conjuring franchise, so I actually got this for quite cheap. It cost me like £20, so it wasn't too bad. Don't actually know what I'm going to do with it, so let's just put her down. Again, before the actual films, I don't really buy comics anymore. I used to be a big comic fan, but I bought a couple. I bought the X-Men Curse of the Man-Thing and Avengers Curse of Man-Thing, because Man-Thing was actually one of my favourite characters, like a swamp monster. And yeah, I haven't actually read them yet, to be honest. But so I've picked them up, and I will read them at some point. Okay, so yeah, let's talk about the actual kind of pickups. Before I get into the films, though, I picked up this game. Why is that weird? I don't even have an Xbox One, but I really enjoyed Skyrim when I had an Xbox 360, and I thought I might pick this up. My nephews have got an Xbox Series S, I think it is. So I picked up this, and probably they can play it. I got it in a car boot, so actually I didn't get it as part of the challenge, but I just kind of picked it up. And this is the kind of like the special edition with all the add-ons and stuff. I really love Skyrim, and I wouldn't mind playing it again, to be honest. So let's talk movies. I've actually picked up a few on DVD. Some of these you would have seen reviews for. This one is Don the Dragon Wilson in Sci-Fighter. It's a terrible movie. I did pick it up at the car boot sale, not part of the eBay challenge, just kind of one I picked up. And yeah, thought I'd review it. It was terrible. Bloodthirsty is actually kind of a vampire movie that I kind of wanted to review. I had it on VHS, but I wanted to pick it up and do a review on it, because that's kind of like I was thinking about its visual style. So I picked up this UK DVD that stars Monique Parent, and yeah, the review's up for that channel. It's kind of like a weird psychosexual, almost like a 90s erotic throwback movie, like you kind of used to get. You normally starred Shannon Tweed. This I picked up, not knowing I actually already had it, and it was called Lake Fear, which was quite bad, to be honest with you. But I kind of, this is the problem when you watch so many movies, and especially when they have different names. So The Haunting at Cypress Creek. I reviewed a screener of this, I think, a little while ago, and it's basically like an Evil Dead kind of rip-off. Wasn't particularly good. I picked it up, and it's not. I've actually done this twice this month, which you'll see at some point. But yeah, so that was Haunting at Cypress Creek. Next one is The Lost Empire, and quite coincidentally, Tom actually did a review of this one, but it's one I wanted to pick up anyway. As far as I know, you can't actually get it on Blu-ray, so I got the DVD release, and I had this again on VHS. And it's basically, you get a bunch of kind of Russ Meyer type women go on kind of like a little quest. It's very kind of 80s action, lots of kind of women in bikinis and things like this. And if you're a fan of Russ Meyer, you'll kind of know who they've kind of cast certainly in regards to their body types. Next up, we have Legend of the Seeker Season 2. Now, this was a kind of fantasy sort of series that was actually based on a number of books. And I actually watched it when it was on TV. They cancelled it after Series 2. And it was really good. It was a network TV one, but it was kind of edgy for a like a network TV show. It's kind of like a cross between like Xena in regard, because it's actually made by the same producers who did Xena and stuff. And you've got like Bruce Spence, who is in like the Mad Max movies. But it has a little bit more kind of edge to it than I would say some of the kind of like the it's not quite Game of Thrones, but it's in between. And like it's been a while since I've watched it, but basically these two can't have sex, otherwise one of them will turn crazy or something like that. But it's a fun series, and I don't actually have season 1, but I found this season 2 for pretty cheap. But nonetheless, season 2 I think is better because we have this secondary character called Kara, who sort of comes into it in the second season, which is pretty good. If you like fantasy series, I would actually check this one out. It's actually pretty good. It's a shame they didn't make more of them, but yeah, I'll pick up season 1 at some point. I also picked up Robocop Dark Justice, and this was actually, I think it's 2 episodes of the TV show that they did. They actually made a TV show that lasted like 1 season, just after they did Robocop 3, and this is, I think they released like 3 or 4 DVDs, basically had kind of 2 episodes each, and this is one of them. They're not brilliant, they're kind of in the, they're almost like the kind of Robocop 3 extended, that kind of thing, even kind of like a little bit more kiddie than that, to be honest with you, but you know, it's not terrible. It still has the decent kind of Robocop costume and stuff in there, but they're not brilliant. So I picked up this one and I went to the car boot sale, and I might even have this one, but I was in the car boot sale and I saw this, and it's actually got a couple of quotes from us, but these were Paul's quotes. Paul reviewed this movie. In case you don't know, Paul was a reviewer who did reviews on the channel, and he sadly passed away recently, and I kind of saw this and it had Paul's quotes on it, and I couldn't remember if I actually had it or not, and I just picked it up just because, you know, I just felt a little bit kind of sentimental about it, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's an okay kind of science fiction movie. There you go. And then we have Ultimax Forks, and don't worry, this is the last DVD, sort of. And this was kind of a ninjas in Vietnam movie. Again, I kind of have reviewed this on the channel. It is like the most 80s movie you've ever seen. Very, very silly. And again, it's one of these ones I kind of had wanted to come back to. I had it on VHS and wanted to sort of come back to it to review. So there is actually a couple of more DVDs, but these are actually DVD Steelbooks, and this is a Canadian Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer, and this is, as far as I know, the last Marvel DVD Steelbook that I did not have. There's a very similar looking one, which actually has the logo on it, but you'll notice the logo isn't on that one, on this particular version. So this is the Canadian one without the logo. And yes, this as far as I know, and if there's any others out there that I don't know about, this is actually now me completed all of the Marvel DVD Steelbooks. Next up, this is a metal pack from Germany of Evil Dead 2. And this is one I've been after for a long, long time. Obviously, it's got the German translation on it, and was an absolute bugger to get hold of, because I had a look on Amazon in Germany, eBay in Germany, and whoever had this was not willing to send it to the UK. And it's taken me years to find someone who was actually willing to send this to the UK. And it was like, I know that they've had another Steelbook in America with Evil Dead 1 and 2, which is, I don't actually have that. But for the longest time, this was the one Steelbook that I did not have for the Evil Dead. So now I've actually kind of picked it up. I know it's a metal pack, but you know what I mean. So yeah, so no, I'm really pleased I've got this one. It's been a long time after. I know it's not the best graphics on there, but I'm pleased I've got it. So this is the Guardians of the Galaxy Big Sleeve Edition. I've got a few of these, and these were kind of discontinued. They did about, I don't know, 25 movies or so. And I think, to be honest with you, they were just a pain to kind of really sort of display or kind of, you know, put away, to be quite honest, because obviously they're pretty big and, you know, unwieldy. This is the problem with VHS. It's kind of quite bulky. And yet they made these kind of LP-sized editions. And they did, as I say, they did about 25 movies in total, including about 5 or 6 of the Marvel ones. This is one of the ones I didn't have, and I got this through CEX. It is open, but it is in pretty good nick. And you've got the 2 discs in there, as well as a bunch of art cards. I think there's about 2 Marvel ones that I don't have, including the second Guardians of the Galaxy. So maybe one day. Okay, on to some Blu-rays, and this Dragon Slayer is actually a bootleg. This was from Stinky Tuna, and this is a film that you can't actually get on Blu-ray, hence why I've had to get a bootleg version of it. Stinky Tuna doesn't actually ship to the UK anymore. But I've managed to get this one through a friend. The reason I think that there's the problem with this one, because this was actually a Disney Paramount co-production, so I think the rights are shared with this movie, which is why there's been kind of like not a lot in regards to kind of releases. But it's actually quite a slow film, but the last act is incredible. Next up, we have The Phantom Empire. This is the 30th anniversary edition. I think this is a Region 1. It's an American Blu-ray, but it's multi-region. That stars, obviously, Sybil Danning. It's one of these kind of cheesy throwback movies. I've done the review of this. It's got Jeffrey Combs in it as well. It's kind of like, again, Amazon women, stop-motion dinosaurs, all that kind of stuff. Very much a kind of adventure film, but very, very cheesy, very B-movie. They've essentially thrown everything at this one. Next up, we have GWendoline, this one from Severin, and I had this on DVD. I actually had a DVD version of GWendoline, and I actually picked this up from CEX, and I'm pleased to say that it has the slipcover. Woo! Look at that. Oh, damn it. They're always trying to escape. And it actually comes with a bunch of, oh, damn, somewhat naughty art cards there. So there you go. So that is GWendoline, and this was actually based on a French comic book that was kind of a little bit kinky, and it stars Tawny Kitaen, who passed away not all that long ago. And again, this is one I had on the VHS, but I had picked it up on DVD, but now I've got the Blu-ray. I have a couple of the HMV Premium Edition. I'm actually quite a big fan of Tarzan, and this one is probably my favourite Tarzan movie, to be honest. Greystoke, The Legend of Tarzan, that stars Christopher Lambert. Probably the most kind of realistic version of Tarzan, to be honest. No, I don't get all of these, you know, HMV Premium connections. I know people get suckered in with the kind of like the numbers on the spine. That's marketing, people. It's a marketing ploy. I just like to get the films I actually enjoy, and this is one of them. Great movie. Next up, we have The Haunting, and this is the remake that starred Liam Neeson and Catherine Zeta-Jones. I saw this at the cinema, actually, this movie. I actually quite enjoyed it. It does have a little bit of ropey CGI, admittedly, and once again, this is the the HMV Premium Edition. So here's one of my favourite all-time movies, and this is Drive. No, we're not talking about the Ryan Gosling movie. We are talking about the 1997 Mark Dacascos movie, which is an incredible action martial arts film. And for the longest time, it did not have a Blu-ray release, but I've picked up this MVD Rewind collection. This is an American one, but I believe it is multi-region. Yes, it is. And this, if you like kind of action movies, you can do with having a look at it. You can get the DVD easy enough. There's actually two versions of it. There's a director's cut and a theatrical cut. I actually prefer the theatrical cut, to be honest. Yeah, it's got the slipcase, and in my opinion, Mark Dacascos' best movie, you know, outside of things like John Wick and that. But this is a great movie. Honestly, I would really advise checking this out if you're a martial arts fan. Then we have Pounce, and I thought, I thought that looks interesting. I'll buy that as a blind buy. And the second time, I've got suckered buying a film that I'd already had. Now, this one was originally called Silverhide, and it was a terrible werewolf movie. And I had it on DVD, and now I've picked it up on Blu-ray, but with a different name. There you go. A little bit of research would have saved me. It wasn't a lot of money. It's a rubbish movie with an invisible werewolf. Ridiculous. There you go. Next up, we have Poltergeist II. I saw Carlos from Eastwood for Life pick this up, and I thought, do you know what, I've got to get that, because even though admittedly the Poltergeist sequels are not as strong as the original, I think Kane, who is the antagonist of this movie, is one of the best kind of movie villains. I think he's incredibly creepy, and I thought, do you know what, I'll pick this up, and I'll probably get the third one as well. I didn't get it this time, but I will pick the third one up as well. Also from CEX, I picked up Never Say Never Again on Blu-ray. This is the kind of the unofficial James Bond, which is essentially a remake of Thunderball. And obviously we had Sean Connery reprising his role after Roger Moore had started his tenure as James Bond. And this was a kind of a sneaky kind of unofficial version of Bond from Sean Connery. So next up, we are talking Benny Loves You. And this is a German media book. And this was a really fun horror comedy about a killer plush toy that kind of comes alive. It's kind of it almost has a Shaun the Dead sort of style comedy feel to it. And what I liked about it is we have a kind of a killer toy who doesn't look scary. He just looks like a regular kind of plush toy, which almost makes it that much more bizarre. But he always says, like, Bunny loves you. It's kind of real fun. Now, there's a review of it on the channel if you want to check it out. But, yeah, it's a fun movie. And it's a numbered steelbook from our out of 3,000 there. So next up, we get into the steelbooks. You know I like a steelbook. And the first one we're going to talk about here is Battle Beyond the Stars. This was one of my favourite science fiction movies. It's a kind of a remake of The Seven Samurai but in space. Stars George Peppard, Sybil Danning, and this was a release from Shout Factory. But I didn't just get the standard one. I got the collector's pack. So let's have a look what that entails. It entails a lithograph, which is basically a posh way of saying a poster, which I haven't actually taken out the box, it's just the artwork. But the most fun thing, and I'm going to take these out of the way to show you, was it actually came with a NECA figure of Sybil Danning's character, Valkyrie. I've forgotten the actual character's name. It's an XMen or something her name is. And it's a really decent sculpt. Actually does quite look a lot like the character, to be honest with you. She comes with a little laser gun and stuff. Obviously, I haven't got it out the packaging, but you can kind of see there. Now, I have to be honest, I thought this was going to come in like a box, so all together, but they just came sort of like just in a cardboard box packaged separately. So to me, it wasn't really like a collector's edition, saying XMen. There you go. So I have to be honest, I was a little disappointed it didn't come in kind of like an outer box. It was just 3 things separate. I would have preferred it they come as a kind of a set, including, you know, all in the one package, but it is what it is. Next up, we have Jaws 2. This is a Xavi Steelbook. Jaws 2 is one of those films where I feel gets unfairly tarred as a crappy sequel. Yes, of course, it's not as good as the original. I don't think anyone would say that. But, you know, if you judge it on its own merits, I don't think it's certainly a pretty good shark film. And I would argue probably still one of the kind of the top 10 shark films that are around today. It's pretty good, obviously. It still stars Roy Scheider. I know that there was kind of problems whilst making this movie through the director and Roy Scheider not kind of getting on. But the end result is still a pretty enjoyable movie. Not as good as the original, obviously, but still fun in its own right. We also have Jaws 3, or Jaws 3D as it was originally known. And this one where it takes place in kind of Waterworld. And this one obviously, you know, is kind of deemed to be one of the crappier ones. It's certainly a drop in quality again, but I still quite enjoy this movie, to be honest with you. Now, you could get Jaws the Revenge, which is Jaws 4. But I didn't get that because that one really isn't very good. So I just got 2 and 3. I didn't actually get the 4th one. But yeah, I'm glad these have got singular Steelbook editions. So next up, more for the Arnie collection, and this is the Terminator Genesis Metal Pack. It's a heavily embossed sort of cover on there. This is a 4K one. And yeah, it's one of the few ones I had left to kind of get to completely kind of the Terminator movies. This is actually one I did get in July. This is one of the 2 things I got, and this is the Last Action Hero Xavi Collector's Edition, which comes in this kind of box set. You get like the kind of replica ticket, you get the Steelbook, a few other bits and pieces. Interesting to note, this actual case, it does actually say the Hut Group on it, which is actually the Xavi's parent company. So it is actually Xavi who have produced this outer cover. A lot of people don't like this. I actually do like it. I think it's quite a fun little, you know, box. Yeah, the shrink up ain't very good. I've seen a few people with that, but you know, there you go. I actually think it's quite good. It probably was a little bit expensive, to be honest with you, but I'm pleased I got it. And then the last Arnie one, and this is one that I knew I had to get, but I just did not want to pay a lot of money for this. Batman and Robin. I don't like this movie, but I needed to get it to kind of get the, you know, the full set of Arnie Steelbooks. So I managed to find a cheap copy in CEX. It's missing the J card, but this case, I don't care. If you know me, you know I love a bit of Marvel action. I have a few Marvel Steelbooks. So Xavi have essentially released the majority of the XMen films on this kind of with a lenticular effect. I have not got all of them yet, actually. I didn't bother. I thought I'd try and wait till some of them drop in price. But this is the Dark Phoenix one, and I picked this one up because there is only the one Steelbook that you can get for it so far. So I thought I'd make sure I get this one. Deadpool 2. Obviously, kind of I would say probably one of the most popular X-Men kind of movies, if you like. And that's a fun steelbook, and I thought I'd definitely pick up this one. I won't risk that one selling out. You'll notice I get these on Blu-ray rather than 4K. And then we have the X-Men Apocalypse. So there's still, I think I need to get X-Men 2, 3, First Class. I think that might be it. Yeah. So there you go. Okay. I've just realised I've messed the order up here, but never mind. So this one, SpiderMan Homecoming, may look innocuous enough, but this is actually one of the harder versions to get. And this is the Brazilian version with it's funny enough, this sort of pose was actually another one, but the actual background is different. So it's actually an exclusive one to Brazil. Although I've got a feeling this is actually Prague. But you have a Prague setting, but it's exclusive to Brazil. Weird. But yes, this is kind of one of the non-premium steelbooks I did not have for Marvel, so I kind of had to kind of pick it up. There's now only one non-premium steelbooks outside of the new X-Men steelbooks that I don't actually have. So there you go. Yes, I missed this one out. So Logan, this is obviously one of the other the X-Men lenticular versions that was released, and probably a lot of people's favourite X-Men movie. I like it, but to be honest with you, there are other films I prefer to this one. And then I do have a couple of premiums. I have the Wheat Amazing Spider-Man Lenticular Premium Steelbook. As you can see, they're pretty decent. But that's how you do a lenticular image, let's be honest. And that is limited to 1,450. And then my final bit was the Amazing Spider-Man 2 Wheat Steelbook, and Wheat I think is like an offshoot of Blue Fans, I believe. And again, it's got that lenticular image there, which is you know, woohoo, shake it, Spidey. And once again, limited to 1,450. So that is my update for technically August and July, but I say mostly August. And that is what I have bought. What do you think of the collection updates? Any kind of favourites that you have seen in here? And what do you think of my nun bust? Leave us a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time.